What if a new ice age started? In the modern world, climate change is an issue that's always hanging over our heads. So it would probably be best to prepare for any and all possible outcomes, wouldn't it? Well, in today's video, we'll be going over the potential alterations that could occur if the Earth were to enter another ice age. We'll be talking about changes to the environment, wildlife, and of course, human society as we know it. So, without further ado, let's get into it. What is an ice age? Firstly, let's briefly discuss what an ice age even is. Well, the term ice age actually refers to a prolonged period in Earth's geological history characterized by a significant drop in global temperatures and the expansion of polar ice sheets and glaciers. The last ice age, called the Quaternary Glaciation, happened during a time period called the Pleistocene Epoch. This epoch started about 2.6 million years ago and ended just around 11,000 years ago. During this time, huge sheets of ice covered a lot of the northern hemisphere, including parts of North America, Europe, and Asia. This icy period made the world's climate very changeable. Sometimes it got very cold with expanding ice, and other times it warmed up and the ice retreated. During an ice age, several key characteristics become prominent. Vast ice sheets form in polar regions and extend over large portions of continents, effectively lowering global sea levels. Also, the occurrence of an ice age is influenced by various factors. The primary causes include variations in Earth's orbit, known as Milankovitch cycles, which affect the distribution and intensity of solar radiation received by the planet. These cycles include changes in the tilt of the Earth's axis, the shape of its orbit, and its axial precession. These astronomical phenomena alter the amount and distribution of sunlight reaching different latitudes, influencing the initiation and duration of glacial periods. In today's world, although the likelihood of a new ice age is actually considered to be very low, anything is possible in nature. Now, let's finally get into the main modifications that you should see on the planet if another ice age were to occur. Number 1. Environmental changes. If another ice age were to occur, it would bring with it extreme environmental transformations that would reshape the Earth's surface. One of the most obvious changes would be the expansion of glaciers and ice sheets, which would arise from polar regions and invade sizable masses of other continents. This colossal ice cover would blanket regions like Scandinavia, Canada, and parts of Russia, fundamentally altering their landscapes. The oceans, too, would undergo significant alterations. As enormous quantities of water become frozen in ice, sea levels would noticeably fall. Previously submerged land would emerge, potentially giving rise to new coastlines and land bridges. Notably, the Bering Strait between Alaska and Siberia might revert to a land bridge, connecting the two continents. Simultaneously, the influx of fresh water from melting ice could shake up oceanic circulation patterns, potentially resulting in far-reaching shifts in global climate dynamics. Landforms would also bear the lasting mark of glaciation. These features would permanently reshape the topography and character of affected landscapes. Interestingly, in coastal mountainous areas, glaciers would carve deep, narrow inlets, creating fjords that would run for miles. Rivers and lakes would also transform. During warmer breaks within the Ice Age, meltwater falling from declining glaciers would freshen existing hydrological systems, potentially creating new water bodies and altering the course of existing ones. Meanwhile, vegetative communities and habitats would undergo shifts of their own. The colder climate would increase the expansion of tundra biomes characterized by hardy flora like mosses, lichens, and low shrubs. Permafrost, ground that remains continually frozen, would extend its icy grip over larger areas of land. Climate patterns, too, would become more variable, with winters becoming harsher and longer, and summers growing shorter and cooler in affected areas. Number 2. Wildlife changes. If an ice age were to occur, the wildlife on Earth would face a tough challenge in modifying to the plunging temperatures and altered ecosystems. Some species would embark on a journey of adaptation, evolving new traits and behaviors to thrive amidst the harsher conditions. For instance, those with insulating fur or feathers, efficient energy conservation mechanisms, or specialized foraging techniques might gain an advantage. Likewise, animals capable of hibernation or entering torpor states would have a survival advantage during the long frigid winters. Migration would become a critical strategy for many species. Sensing the changing climate, animals would set out on journeys, seeking out more favorable habitats. Birds, for instance, would embark on seasonal migrations to track the shifting patterns of food availability. Large mammals might embark on treks in search of suitable forage or to escape invading ice. Marine life could undergo massive migrations too, following the shifts in oceanic currents and temperatures. However, not all species would be able to navigate these challenges. The Ice Age would likely signal the death of some groups, particularly those unable to adapt swiftly enough or find hospitable environments. In some cases, populations might decline to the point of extinction. On the other hand, the Ice Age would also serve as a test of evolutionary improvement. Surviving species would be under intense selective pressure to develop new adaptations. Natural selection would play a central role in sculpting the biodiversity of this new era, favoring those traits that award a competitive edge in the transformed ecological landscape. If enough time goes by, you might even see extinct species come back in different forms. One such example is the woolly mammoth, which was specialized for the cold climate. Number 3. Changes to human society. For society, things aren't looking any better. Agriculture, the backbone of many societies, would face substantial challenges. With shorter growing seasons and colder temperatures, it would be much harder to grow the crops we rely on for food. Farmers would need to come up with clever ways to adapt. They might need to switch to different types of crops that can handle the cold better. Greenhouses and other protective structures could become crucial for extending the growing season. Additionally, techniques like crop rotation and soil management would be even more vital to maximize yields. Food shortages could also become a real concern. If crop yields decline, it means there might not be enough food to go around. This could lead to scarcities and higher prices for basic goods. Governments and communities would need to work together to ensure fair distribution of resources. Additionally, people might need to move to warmer areas. In places where the ice expands and the weather gets extremely cold, living conditions could become very tough. Demographic changes could also bring about conflicts. When large groups of people move, it can sometimes lead to tension. Communities might need to figure out how to share resources fairly and create a sense of belonging for everyone, whether they're new arrivals or long-time residents. This could potentially require careful planning and cooperation, as some places would become uninhabitable and others would become hotspots. Technology would also be a crucial ally in facing the challenges of the Ice Age. Humans are incredibly inventive, and we'd need to be even more so during an Ice Age. New ways of heating our homes and workplaces would be essential. This might involve more efficient insulation, better heating systems, or even alternative energy sources. Food preservation techniques would also need to advance to make sure we have enough to eat throughout the year. Innovations in shelter construction could help us build homes that can withstand the extreme cold. In areas where the Ice Age strikes the strongest, underground bunkers would also be essential in withstanding the freezing temperatures. Number 4. Economical impact. Adding to the societal changes, the economy would also see a massive shift. As the temperature drops, essential resources like fresh water, fertile land for farming, and valuable minerals could also become scarcer. This scarcity could trigger heightened competition among communities, regions, and nations for control over these vital commodities. Access to fresh water, in particular, would be of paramount importance for both agricultural and domestic use. Managing and distributing these resources fairly and sustainably would become critical challenges. Additionally, there would be a surge in demand for heating, especially in regions directly affected by glacial expansion. This would necessitate a significant increase in energy production, particularly in the form of heating fuels and electricity. Existing energy infrastructures might need to be upgraded or expanded to meet the heightened demand. Furthermore, there would be a push for the development of more efficient and sustainable heating technologies to mitigate energy consumption. Certain economic sectors would experience shifts in their relative importance. For instance, industries related to heating technologies, insulation, and construction materials would likely see a surge in demand. Conversely, industries heavily reliant on warm climates, such as tourism and certain types of agriculture, might face considerable challenges. This could lead to the need for diversification and adaptation within affected economies. Overall, we should be glad that in the future, the chances of an ice age occurring are slim. However, like we said in the beginning, it's best to be prepared for all the changes that could come with it. We hope you learned something new. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on videos like this. See you next time.